Welcome, my friend. Take a seat, take a drink, and let me tell you the tale of the Vampire of Croglin. On the continent, legends about vampires are commonplace in many countries, especially in Eastern Europe. Yet, apart from a vampire lord of Onwick Castle, chronicled by William of Newburgh in the 12th century, such creatures were absent in British folklore until the Victorian era. Then, an account of a vampire haunting in the best Gothic tradition was introduced to the public by the writer Augustus Hare in his book My Solitary Life. He wrote that he had obtained the details from Captain Fisher, whose family had long owned an ancient farmhouse known as Croglin Low Hall, close to the Cumbrian village of Croglin. When the family moved to Thorncombe in Surrey in 1874, Croglin Low Hall was let on a 7-year lease to 3 Australians, 2 brothers and their sister, by the name of Cranswell. According to Captain Fisher, the new arrivals shared in the social pleasures of the district and made themselves very popular. One summer night in 1875, Amelia Cranswell fastened her window but left the shutters open, and as she stood looking out into the shadowed farmyard, she saw 2 points of light approaching. As they drew nearer, she realised they were eyes, though of what she could not tell. This was followed by the sound of nails scratching at the window, which soon yielded. Then, in the words of Captain Fisher, the creature came in and twisted its long bony fingers into her hair, dragged her head over the side of the bed, and bit her violently in the throat. Her screams rang through the farmhouse and roused her brothers Edward and Michael. They found the door of their sister's bedroom locked, but they forced it open with a poker to find Amelia in a faint with blood on her neck. While Michael attended to her, Edward ran to the window and saw by moonlight a tall, thin shape disappearing through the arch in the farmyard wall. A local doctor pronounced Amelia's wounds to be superficial, but suggested that to clear her mind of such a traumatic experience, she should be taken on a long holiday. As to the intruder, the doctor thought it might be a large monkey that had possibly escaped from some travelling menagerie, adding that a child on a nearby farm had suffered a similar attack recently. The Cranswell brothers accepted his advice, and as soon as Amelia felt well enough to travel, they left the Cumbrian fells for the mountains of Switzerland. After several months, Amelia insisted that they should return to Croglin Low Hall, but from then on the young woman closed her shutters at night, and Edward kept a pistol by his bed. Then, in March 1876, Amelia was roused from her sleep by the sound of fingernails scratching at her window. Somehow the prowler had managed to force a shutter and was now preparing to repeat the attack of the previous year. Hearing his sister's cry for help, Michael ran to her room while Edward raced into the yard, where he saw what he later described as a tall, spindly fellow in a curious cloak, who sprang away from Amelia's window and fled through the arch. In the moonlight, Edward aimed his pistol at the fugitive and fired. The figure appeared to stagger and then set off at a limping run across the road and over the fields in the direction of Croglin. Edward pursued it to the outskirts of the village, where it disappeared into the old churchyard. Believing that they were up against something beyond normal understanding, the brothers summoned a couple of neighbours and the local gamekeeper, and at dawn they entered the churchyard to seek the figure. They found the vampire lying under a partly moved slab in a traditional state of suspended animation, and with a bullet hole in the parchment-like skin of its leg. In the far corner of the burial ground they built a bonfire, and when it was well alight they consigned the skeletal form of the intruder to the flames. At Croglin Low Hall, the window through which the intruder had attacked Amelia Cranswell was bricked up and remains a monument to the incident. As well as this unearthly intruder, a more traditional ghost has also been glimpsed at Croglin Low Hall. During the Second World War, some evacuees billeted at the farm were terrified by a tall phantom figure in a monk's garb with a cord hanging down his back, a phenomenon that was seen on more than one occasion. It is a local story that Edward VIII, who was interested in psychic matters, made a private visit to Croglin Low Hall to see the ghost, although whether this was the monk or the vampire is not known. And so ends the tale of the Vampire of Croglin. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Farewell, my friend. Have a safe journey home. But remember, should you hear the sound of fingernails scraping down your window in the night, be sure to have your pistol close to hand.